Hard marriage, hard heart. But don't be put off if you think, damn, I've been hostile and all, what's going to happen? Studies have actually found that if you get out of the way, in other words, if we change how we are and how we act, as well as change our diet and lifestyle, then any damage to the heart can begin to regenerate. There's a type of stem cell called an endothelial progenitor cell. That's a big word for you. That it's a stem cell that naturally evolves into a heart cell. Stem cells are the cells that actually replace damaged cells in the body and help us to grow. And what they find is if you get out of the way, in other words, stop the behaviour, then these stem cells will naturally start to repair damage to the body, which is a natural process. We didn't really know that until quite recently. But it's the same way that if you've had a heart attack or something, then you change your lifestyle. And you stop smoking, you stop drinking, you start to exercise, you eat healthy, a much better diet, then your body begins to repair and some of the heart begins to regenerate. It's the same when you change your attitude. Then any damage that's been done over a period of time begins to regenerate. But attitude plays a big role, such a big role in the heart that leading scientists are now they're really getting into this research so much that we've always been able to predict someone's risk of heart disease based upon a diet, lifestyle, whether they smoke, drink, how much exercise they take, whether they eat fried eggs and fish suppers as opposed to whether they eat fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains and stuff. And you can always predict a person's risk with a high degree of accuracy if they keep that lifestyle up. But now leading cardiologists are saying it is even easier to predict a person's risk of heart disease based upon their attitude to life and attitude to circumstances. Such is the effect of the way our minds impact our bodies, that attitude is now one of the leading predictors of heart disease. So actually being optimistic and positive about things is actually a very, very healthy thing. And you can actually see this with people that are in a corporate environment. I found this nice wee study where scientists looked at people who were affected by corporate downsizing. And they took a sample of 200 people, executives, who'd been affected by downsizing. And they interviewed them and found some of them viewed the downsizing and the possible loss of their jobs as an opportunity. Whether that was an opportunity to do something different or to get out of this stressful environment or whatever, but seen it as an opportunity. Others viewed it as a threat, right? The same event. So how you viewed it, opportunity or a threat. What they found when they looked at medical statistics over the next 3 months, those who viewed it as an opportunity, only about 30% of them had a day of sickness of any sort over the next 3 months. But those who viewed it as a threat, the same situation, over 90% of the people had a day of illness or sickness. So there's a factor of 3 times difference in illness and sickness based upon just how we look at the same event. Fascinating. But there's really good ways that you can learn to change your attitude for the best. There's a really great book, some of you might have read it. It's called A Complaint-Free World, right? And this guy called Will Bowen, he encourages you to try and go 21 days without complaining, without moaning, without criticising. Now I'm from Scotland, that's a challenge for Scottish people. It's a way of life. But a challenge to go 21 days without complaining, unfairly judging, criticising anyone or anything, right? It's actually quite challenging. And he encourages you to get a wee purple wristband. You can get it from his website, complaintfreeworld.org. And you get this wee purple wristband. You'll notice I don't have one on because I've done the 21 days. And once you complete the 21 days, you don't have to wear it anymore. But I wore it for 5 months. And I teach positive thinking. Or I talk about it. But before I got my band, I would just, every time I complained, what you do with the wristband is whenever you complain or moan or judge, unfairly criticise someone, and you've got to be your own judge of whether you're complaining or moaning or judging or criticising. What you say is it's a criticism if it carries an emotional charge. It's an observation if it doesn't. Right? And you've got to be honest with yourself. Before I got my band, I just did that with my watch. And it became quite irritating because I'd changed it about 5 times in the first hour. 3 of them when I'm driving my car. And you're constantly doing that. But what it does is it points out to you how often you complain. It's incredible. And gradually you find that you get better and better at changing how you frame something. So reframing something, changing how you speak, how you present something. And what's amazing is I think we're like wee tuning forks and we carry our stuff around with us. So how you feel and whether you're criticising or judging or something, you walk into a room of people and you know if you hit a tuning fork and other things begin to resonate with it. We're like tuning forks, and you walk into a room and you start moaning and complaining and stuff, and people begin to agree with you and go, yeah, I know that's the government and all this thing, and oh God. Then you go away, and they're all still complaining. Then they'll each go away to their own lives, their own families, and say, you know about this thing, I hate this thing, this, and we carry all this. We're like tuning forks, and our music gets played all over the country, all over the place that we operate in, because other people are inspired by our music. And one of the incredible things I noticed when you really catch yourself is people are different, because you're not sounding that note when you go into company, you're sounding a different note. So people talk about different things, more upbeat things, more positive things, more energising things, more generous and kind and compassionate things. If you choose what you talk about, if you choose how you talk about the same things you might have talked about before, you can say the same thing in a supportive way. And what you find is people go off to their lives now feeling better, and they play your tune, or their own tune is resonating with your tune, and they start to communicate differently. And in a funny kind of way, we really change the world just by changing ourselves. It's really remarkable. And one of the things I loved about the wee band is, see, whenever you if you go like 10 days, and then you complain once, you've got to go right back to day 1, change your band. I got to day 17 once, and my girlfriend was doing it as well. And we were watching, like, I think it was Britain's Got Talent or the X Factor. And I got to 17 days, and I'd begun to notice that some of the times when she made maybe a criticism, or she would say it was an observation, I'd noticed that she hadn't changed her band, and that began to bug me. But I can't say anything. And then, at one point after 17 days, I did point out, although in defence it was actually an observation, but she made an observation, but I thought it was a criticism, and then she said, well, that was an observation, and anyway, you just criticised me, and no! And I had to go right back to day 1, and then for the next 4 days, boy, did I let loose to get it out of my system. You know. But after that, I went 21 days in one go, because you get really good at it, and you actually get really, really good at changing how you are around people and around yourself. It's actually very, very enlightening. Another